Absolutely. Let's go ahead and go over Baal. If you're new here, my name's Sandra. I love old books, and it makes the chosen ones incredibly mad. This is my set of encyclopedias from the 1890s, the Chambers Encyclopedias. I don't believe I ever went over Baal in this set, so I'm glad you're asking. And I appreciate your sweet comment. Thank you. Also, y'all, they're never going to push these videos, so I hate to even ask, but if y'all could like, follow, comment, reshare, all that stuff, because they just don't like these videos. Baal, the principal male deity of the Phoenician and Canaanitish nations, as Ashtoreth was the principal female deity. The Bel of Babylon and Assyria has no identity with the Phoenician Baal beyond the fact that they were both bore the title of Bel-Bab, Lord. Originally, Baal was regarded as a personification of the sun, the ruler and vivifier of nature, but later his sovereignty in the moral world also was conceived. The oldest form of his cultus was a nature worship on the tops of mountains. Thus, the Midianites and Amalekites worshipped him on Horeb and Sinai, the Moabites on Mount Peor, the Phoenicians particularly on Carmel, the Canaanites of the interior on Hermon. There were no representations of Baal, but his presence was symbolized by upright, conical stones, which in earlier times were erected in the open air, but later in temples, and are supposed to have had a phallic significance. Of course it does. In contrast to Baal, the genial and fructifying power of nature stood Moloch, the god of the sun, in his destructive side, and the personification of the sterner side of nature. Later, both conceptions were united together in the person of Melkart, the supreme god of the Phoenicians. Melkart is usually supposed to mean king of the deity, i.e. Tyre. Others considered it a contradiction of two words signifying king of the earth, while the learned Selden explained it as equivalent to strong king. I'm going to have to see if Melkart's in here also. The Greeks confounded Baal or Melkart with their own Hercules, and for the purpose of distinction termed him the Tyrian Hercules. From the earliest foundation of Tyre, he seems to have been the titular god of that city, and his worship apparently extended thence until it was prevalent in all the towns of the Phoenician Confederation and was established in their remotest colonies such as Malta, Carthage, and Cadiz. The worship of Baal, with its genial and festive character, had a powerful fascination for the early Israelites before the idea of a pure monotheism had been fully grasped by the popular imagination. Their defection to the worship of Baal Peor as early as the close of the journey across the desert is related in the book of Numbers, and after their settlement in Canaan, they returned to it again and again, placing Baal beside Jehovah and dividing their worship of their own national god with the indigenous god of the country. The influence of King Ahab and his Syrian wife Jezebel spread it over the northern kingdom, spite of the opposition of the lofty-minded Elijah, but the revolution effected by Jehu finally banished it from Israel. See, y'all, they have never, ever, 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 ever been a victim. They've always been the problem. They always lie. Sorry, I digress. The word Baal enters into the composition of many Hebrew, Chaldee, Phoenician, and Carthaginian personal and place names such as Jezebel, Hasdrubal, Hannibal, Ethbal, Baalbec. The word is also frequently found in conjuncture with some epithet, and in such cases appears to have denoted a different deity, though it is not impossible that it may have been the same person regarded in another aspect and as exercising merely a different function. Thus we have Baal-berith, the covenant lord, who was specially worshipped by the people of Shechem, Baal-peor, the Priapus of the Moabites, and Midianites, and Beelzebub or Basilbub, the fly god, the idol of the Philistines at Ekron, where he had a temple. The Celtic deity Beel was often confounded with Baal by the earlier mythologists. Now, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. See, Lord, Baal, it's what it means. Like, Lord is Baal. So I do not understand in the Bible. I mean, I do understand, but they call our God or Jesus Lord, but really they're just referring to Baal, and people don't realize that. I am convinced that these people, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, were able to get their hands on an actual copy and see it and did not like it and rewrote it in Hebrew as a way to control people, because that's what organized religion is. Let's be real. If you actually believe in God, there is no way that you can also believe that he did the things in the Bible, because it's absolutely horrible. But you know who would do the things in the Bible? Baal. Like accepting your children as a sacrifice after you supposedly helped them slain a whole village of innocent people. See, like, that just doesn't make sense. Anyways, what should we go over next?